All right, hello and welcome. So, if you've ever thought about working in Switzerland, you've probably hit a wall pretty fast. The permit system. It can feel like a total maze, right? Well, don't worry. We're going to break it all down for you step by step and give you a clear map. Okay, so the very first thing you need to get your head around is this. Switzerland basically has two completely separate systems. It's a simple split, but it changes everything. And it all comes down to one thing, your passport. Are you a citizen of the EU or an EFTA country? You go down one path. Are you from literally anywhere else in the world? Well, you're on a totally different path. And spoiler alert, it's a much tougher one. So to make sure this is all super clear, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at that EU/EFTA path. Then we'll dive into the much trickier non-EU path. After that, we'll explain the main permit types you'll hear about, cover a couple of special cases, and then wrap up with what your next steps could be. Sound good? Let's go. All right, let's kick things off with the easy route, relatively speaking, of course. This one's for citizens of the 27 EU countries, plus Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway. Those are the FTA states. For this group, everything is so much simpler, and it's all thanks to an agreement on the free movement of people. It really is a streamlined journey. I mean, look at how simple the requirements are. It's actually pretty amazing. To apply, you basically just need four things: the application form, a copy of your passport or ID, your signed work contract, and proof that you have an address in Switzerland. And here's a really useful tip. You don't need to have your long-term apartment sorted out. Even a temporary address like a hotel or a short-term let is usually fine to get the ball rolling. Now, this next point is absolutely crucial. Seriously, it's a total game changer. For anyone from the EU or EFTA, the second you submit your complete application, you can start working. That's it. You don't have to sit around waiting for weeks or even months for that little plastic permit card to show up in the mail. This just massively speeds up the whole process. Okay, now let's switch gears and look at the other side of the coin. The non-EU/EFTA path. If you're not a citizen of one of those countries, what the Swiss call a third country national, the experience is, well, night and day. Forget streamlined. We're talking highly selective, really restrictive, and honestly a huge burden on the company that wants to hire you. And to give you a real sense of just how selective this is, get a load of this number. In a massive international hub like the Canton of Geneva, you know how many long-term B permits are available for non-EU folks for the entire year? About 90. Just 90. These things are tied to incredibly strict national quotas, which makes them unbelievably rare and super, super competitive. So for a company to even have a chance of hiring someone from outside the EU, they have to jump through three enormous hoops. First, they have to prove, and I mean prove, that they couldn't find a single suitable person for the job in all of Switzerland, or even the entire EU. They call this the locals first rule. Second, they have to prove the candidate is a highly qualified specialist or a manager. And third, they need to show how hiring this specific person is actually going to benefit the Swiss economy. It's a lot. And just to show you how seriously they take that first hurdle, check this out. This isn't just a, yeah, we posted a job ad kind of thing. No way. The legal precedent actually says the employer has to prove they were in a state of absolute impossibility of hiring someone with priority. Think about that phrase. It means they have to do these massive, fully documented searches for candidates before they can even think about applying for a permit for a non-EU national. Okay, so now we've got the two big paths down. Let's quickly talk about the actual permits themselves. You'll hear these letters thrown around a lot: L, B, and G. So what do they actually mean? Let's take a quick look. You know, the difference is actually way simpler than you might think. For anyone who's actually going to live in Switzerland, it all boils down to one simple question. How long is your work contract? If your contract is short-term, so less than a year, like 364 days or fewer, you're looking at an L permit. If your contract is for more than a year, or if it's a permanent open-ended one, then you'll get a B permit. Simple as that. And that last one, the G permit, that's a special one just for cross-border commuters, people who live in, say, France or Germany and drive into Switzerland for work every day. Right. Now, of course, life isn't always that simple, and there are a few special cases. So let's just quickly tackle two of the most common ones that people always ask about. What are the rules for students who want to work, and what's the deal with UK citizens now after Brexit? So, if you're a student here in Switzerland, the good news is, yes, you can work, but there are rules. During the semester, you're capped at 15 hours a week. But during the official school holidays, you can go ahead and work full-time. Now, there is one really important catch for non-EU students. You have to wait a full 6 months after you start your studies before you're allowed to work at all. And for all the British citizens out there, I want to be super clear on this. Since Brexit, the game has completely changed. UK nationals are no longer on that easy, streamlined EU path. You are now considered third country nationals, which means you're subject to the exact same tough, restrictive conditions we talked about before. The quotas, the locals first rule, the whole shebang, no exceptions. So there you have it. We've gone through the 2 different systems, the main permit types, and a couple of those special cases. The big question now is, what does all this mean for you? How do you navigate your own personal journey? Look, as you've probably figured out by now, this whole system is, well, it's complicated, especially if you're on that non-EU path. It's just full of these strict rules, tiny quotas, and this huge burden of proof. So if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by it all, trust me, that is completely normal. In a system this tough, getting things right the first time is absolutely everything. Expert guidance can honestly be the difference between getting that yes or a no. So if you want more info that's really tailored to your specific case, or if you'd like to book a consultation, you can find everything you need at the website on your screen now, swisscareer.coach.